Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I am Professor Snehal Ladha. Welcome you all to today's session on IIoT and its implementation by Mr. Gaurav Singh Pardesi. Mr. Gaurav has done dual MS in electronics telecommunication as well as computer science from Paris, uh, ISEP Catholic University of Paris. Currently, he is working as project manager, IoT Business Technology Group, Thermex Limited, Pune. I welcome you, sir.
Hello. Thank you, Snehal. Hello
Yeah.
all.
I would like to hand over the session to you, Mr. Gaurav.
Yeah, I'll be presenting my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Please let me know once it is visible to you.
Yes, it is visible.
Fine. Thank you all. Thank you, Snehal, for inviting me to this session. So I'll be speaking on the industrial IoT and its implementation because we have known the IoT, industrial IoT since long time, but to implement this, transforming any business to generate a revenue by his customer is very crucial and difficult as well as important thing. I'll be speaking on the same subject. Okay. uh, Next, yeah, you already introduced me, but I would also like to introduce myself once again. So I'm Gaurav Singh Pardeshi. I'm working as technical project manager in business technology group of Thermax Limited. Thermax is a, you can say, the umbrella term. It's a corporate leading environment solution company where they have the different sub companies or the division, you can say. So business technology group is one of them which serves technology to other divisions. Okay, we are working as a central division to give or serve technology to other division in terms of transforming their business. So education, I have been fortunate to work with the best and had this master degree. First with the electronics telecommunication, and then in second chance, I am able to complete my computer science from the Catholic University of Paris with the same facility. I also have management degree, or you can say the certification from global company, global organization, say PMI, and I am Agile certified practitioner. I have also done some work in R&D section where I have published my IEEE paper in which I was the part of a team who developed the embedded system which can measure biomedical impedance in fibrosis. It was in France also. So the agenda of today's meeting will be, first of all, the difference between IoT and industrial IoT, and what is actually IIoT when you in terms of implementing a total working principle of IIoT, then how it gets benefit or how it's get implemented in organization and how it's benefited to business. Also, how it is a crucial role for the business, as well as when you get to know about IoT with the different types of businesses, it comes with advantage as well as potential risk. So IT OT convergence also comes with the cyber security, and finally the selecting a right partner, because whenever any company goes forward with IoT, this is the crucial part where you select the right IoT partner which can guide you and makes ROI out of this. Okay, and once you develop the solution, then the go to market strategy. So this is very specific work, but I'll be just speaking about generalizing that work so that it will be very easier to understand, and when you have question you can ask in the last. So total in the start, when you say IoT, the total ecosystem you must be knowing that it is IP enabled devices. These are the smart devices. Okay, it basically the embedded devices or processor sensors which communicate, communication hardware to collect, send, and act data they acquire from their environments. Endpoint of any IoT or IoT is the fetch the data, locally or on cloud and analyze that data, because you have to make insights out of that, and make from that insight you have to make data models as well as the business model from that. Okay, so particularly if you say about IoT devices, these are they, these devices are comprises of sensor data, or they are actually with the smart sensor. They collect data, anything with the IP enabled device, and they send it to cloud. That's it. But the difference, as I say, IoT versus industrial IoT, key difference is, they focus on the audience where they want to implement. First of all, I will say IoT focuses on the consumer level, like Fitbit, smart home devices. Right now, we are seeing in India like IoT fans, refrigerator, on which, when some eggs got finished, it gets automatically added to the basket and gets delivered to your home. This is just kind of IoT, consumer IoT. But the industrial IoT, when you say that you help the businesses or manufacturing, let's say I'm from the manufacturing industry, I'll say specifically to my manufacturing industry is that we have installations since 1990s, and these are the retrofitting. These devices are kind of old with the old drivers. You focus on connecting those machines and devices, okay, make the data out of it and get insights. So it comes in healthcare, fleet management, logistic, manufacturing. Sometimes you never know what is going on the floor, or let's say a warehouse, but you can monitor remotely and can actually give advice or take a decision on a lively basis. So this is, you can say, the key difference between two. So again, if you go for the definition of industrial IoT, it is actually subcategory of IoT, because IoT is now will convert into Internet of Things, or everything connected to everything. So it is a kind of subcategory of IoT that refers to use the automated interrelated sensor devices of the machinery to drive operational efficiency. Ultimately, when you invest in some technology, you expect something, any efficiency related to devices or the team should be get increased. So if you go for the scaling, industrial scale, you have to, you have to have increase this operational efficiency. So this definition comes with, it goes around the terms which are exactly related to ROI. Fine. The main part of this, most IoT definitions, according to some industry or domain, it can differ. But the highlight that, we it has a connection between cyber and the physical, let's say IT and OT, because as of now, IT and OT are the two different. So before we, get into this, we can actually go over an IT or OT, because information technology and operational technology, they have long existed in their separate spheres. Let's say each had its own network, objectives, and requirements. Until relatively recently, this separation was perfectly fine. Okay. However, IoT is changing the game and tearing down these old silos. The complex machines are now integrating with network sensors and being managed by advanced analytics softwares. Let's say we are blurring this line between IT and OT here. Okay, this begins here. When IT and OT joins forces, the organization unlocks several benefits, from process automation and business intelligence to simplified system for ensuring regulatory compliance. So we'll look closely at IT-OT convergence, why it matters. Okay. So benefits of IoT. So IoT offers number of benefits to organization. So enabling them, at everything is related. When you invest into technology, everything is related to commercial, because you are doing for some mission. So any organization who is going into this digital transformation or industry 4.0, it comes as a with vision and some mission. Okay. So let's say when we start this, we have to, some vision. We had this vision that monitor overall business processes which are going on, because this is a huge industry. We should know what is going on and how should it how should it go, correctly with, monitoring their overall business processes. So improve the customer experience. Anyway, we have internal as well as external customer. When you give your, let's say we have boilers, huge boilers, they are like 3 to 4 storage boilers. When you give such, or when you commission such huge equipments, it whenever operate that boiler, it is kind of very difficult. So improve the customer experience, save time and money. How we can save time here? Because whenever, let's say, there is a downtime of boiler, our engineer goes, it actually travels for a day or two, and goes there, then look after it, what is the problem, and you lose time in between. So when you lose time between, the machine is down, so it is a huge loss in terms of money as well as time. So we actually can save by operating it remotely, or monitoring from remotely. Ultimately, we can organization can enhance employee productivity, because they have to set the bar and work accordingly. So and integrate and adapt business models, make better business decisions with the data availability, and generate more revenue. So these are the, I am saying, these are very common benefits or the aim we said. But when you start the journey, it's been like 2 to 3 years for our organization. We come with more benefits as well as some aims as well as the threats. So when you go and when you build, you get to know more about IoT. So actually, even I said before how IoT works, because in IoT, when you say you buy a Bitfit, you get instantly in application or mobile app that your heart rate is this and that. Okay, so you get to know you are healthy or not healthy in terms of some metric. So here IoT, how it works. So it revolves around prediction and promises. You must have heard about analytics. These four types of analytics, like diagnostics, then descriptive, then we go for predictive, and last, prescriptive. So first of all, what happens in prediction, that what happened, okay? Then we go for a diagnostic, how it happened, and actually what can be done. So predictive goes into, this will happen in certain period. Let's say our boilers or any asset goes down for 4 times a year, but we get to know after it goes down. Okay, what predictive analytics does to us, that it actually tells us from the past data, from the mathematical models, that this month it can, according to this parameter, it can go down. So our engineers are always ready. We inform customer in advance, so everything is ready before it goes down, and we can actually help business or our customer by telling, improving some parameters, that it won't go down. Even if go down, it won't be taking much time to get it up. So this is the predictive analysis in very very short. And prescriptive means, in this analytics, it tells us that, you should do this, or it should be done, what could be done, or you have to do this and all. So this IoT works around such kind of predictions. So we are actually gathering big data. You will be amazed that how huge data we are receiving per second. So frequency also matters here. So whenever we have huge data, if we make mathematical models out of it, we get big opportunities, because we get insights of the any machine. Let's say it's a simple motor or a turbine, or let's say solar or any power plant. Okay, so from this data, ultimately the aim is to gather the data and make analytic model, so we can drive process improvement. Okay, ultimately cost saving. When you save time, when you increase uptime, when you decrease downtime, it actually saves your cost. And there are tons of real world ROI. So little about my organization, Thermax Limited. It is a leading energy and environment solution company in India. Right side, you can see these are the products, you can say, because our company works as well as product as well as project based uh, working. Okay, so you can say we have small boilers, huge boilers, heaters, where we can generate heat, steam, or the any calorific values. Then process heating, where we actually generate steam and provides to business. We sell the steam to process the business. Let's say one of the FMCG customer is having our steam, and making their food products, because steam is kind of a energy which drives their process. Then we have power EPC, where we commissioned power plant as well as maintenance, operation and maintenance also for thermax or non-thermax power plants. Solar, we have ground or terrace mounted solar panels. Then air pollution, because anything, any fuel is coming into this, air pollution is gonna go. It's not about the thermax, but any other air pollution is causing with the industrial assets or the product. We have electrostatic precipitator, where we can by using this we can actually control the air pollution with the norms of the government. Same with the water and wastewater solution, where we have water treatment plants. We operates and makes it clean, or waste solution makes it into clean water, you can say. Chemical business is our leading, one of the leading businesses, where dosing systems are there. We provide chemicals. We actually had hand sanitizer also in this pandemic. Same with the process cooling and absorption cooling. We have chillers and all. So these are small to huge heavy engineering equipments, and it gets commissioned in remote areas of the customer. So you have to have a remote performance monitoring system, where we can actually give value or add value to the customer. So customers are happy, then you never had a problem. This is one of the basics, laws or rules of this industry. So this is a particularly, if you can say, our business says how it IoT improved our operational effectiveness. First of all, we have legacy systems. We have commissioned our assets from 1990s. You can you can find some drivers are not even real world, but we are using it. So it was a challenge to transform legacy system, which IoT role is doing well. We transform legacy system here. Okay. Then greater energy efficiency, as I told already, that IoT allows manufacturers to track energy usage patterns by outfitting machinery with the sensors. We do retrofitting for that. So investment is there, and it is a costly. You should understand that when you go into this role, when any company goes for this digital transformation, to gain some ROI, you have to invest hugely. Then data analytics, as I told, four types of data analytics processes. We have like smart connected product already in our market. Then we are creating digital twins, any power plant in as a digital twin, which is gaining traction. And edge computing. Okay, so this is one of the subject I will be talking in later. So edge computing is also there, because we are actually getting huge data, and it is just shaking up the IoT landscape. So again, as I said, data analytics save traveling times. Okay, save operational cost, actually saving manpower. When we have four men to operate something, we can actually save two best of us, okay, best of them, and save other two men for other projects. Let's say digital twins are gaining traction and save. Okay. When we say we are adopting IoT system, any business adopt IoT systems, that means there are benefits as well as disadvantage potential threats also. So security threats are like transformation are expensive and difficult, and can introduce a potential for cyber threat, which I'll be talking on very detail in this. So data integration, we actually aim for one stop window, where you can find all the digital transformation projects in same, like MES. Then you will find other application, ERP, IoT data and integration. Okay, so it comes with high cost adoption, but the potential risk is lack of expertise, because you have to build a team around it to deliver a value. Because whenever you have a right kind of IoT partner, that's just a beginning, but you have to build in-house capability to deliver this IoT to adapt across all the divisions. But benefits are very fruitful here because we have been improving our cloud-based inventory management. You must have heard about ERP, MES systems. Then we actually get visibility of supply chain, reduced downtime and repair cost because we actually work in a back end with different types of vendor. You can say fuel vendor, material vendors, and we actually give them uh, the visibility where we as a Thermax or any business, we can save the cost in advance. Then improve product design and quality controls. Real-time insight provide greater business agility. So this is one of the important metric. Any business, how big or small it is, it should have a business agility. It should work very quickly according to market because market is changing rapidly. You cannot spend much time on a single concept, but not gaining any market share out of it. You have to have a business agility, and which IoT can give, because this is a new currency, you can say, in manufacturing business. We have our competitor, but when you work with agility, it changes the game by collecting data from various things. And actually things are the measurement here, you can say, because from that things, for us, one thing could be one boiler or one water treatment plant. We can actually collect data and show insight to the customer and gain the agility in this. Okay, because we have already developed advanced analytics software alongside transactional information and safety as well as compliance, because we actually get this uh, CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer guidelines with safety and compliance with the help of IT, with in terms of IT, and the beyond cost saving and productivity gain. It is getting to use to keep worker and consumer safe also. So this was the topic I told you about, OT or IT convergence. What is this actually? So when you say how does this IoT bring IT and OT together? Before we get into this, let's quickly go over an IT OT convergence definitions. So IT OT convergence is term that refers to the integration of information technology system, actually, which handles the computing or data processing side, and the operational technology system, which actually you can say the industrial operations. You can say PLCs and DCS, which gathers the system, gathers the data. So traditionally, what it was being done, that IT was the responsible for creating, storing, securing the organization's data. At the same time, OT focuses primarily on processes that takes place in physical world. Think managing productivity, people, and machinery. So these are two different sets. We have to make a superset. Makes actually the IoT. Okay. So today, more and more organizations are embracing industrial IoT, like smart meter, automated asset distribution system, or let's say self-monitoring any boiler, transformer. So we are seeing production lines and equipments outfitted with this sensor. So what happens when you have a sensor attached to any system, it gets line thin. That IT OT convergence become very very thin, and as I said, technology and business goes hand in hand. It should be, the line should be thin, or maybe the convergence should be happening. So the benefit it happened as simplified process control, because this platform where sometimes you have a platform and you have to build application on that, or you have a ready-made solution you can implement directly. So it replaces the bulky manufacturing execution system, okay, and their related applications, which are typically used for inventory tracking, production maintenance, and quality control. So these activities are distributed across both OT and IT. OT and IT, it makes IoT. So when each department runs a separate entity, there is a missed opportunity to control and optimize manufacturing process, which brings IoT into the picture, and it cancels all this risk here. And it gets the real-time visibility as a result of increasing connectivity offered by this IoT technology. Smart manufacturing system generates tons of data. So considering how many sensors might be found on the factory floor alone, you must be knowing that there are 10 workers and one floor, and if they are working on a single system, you have to have monitoring all of them, but you don't have a data in hand, let's say real-time data. Okay, So look at all the potential scenarios digital twin software can provide. Business analytics from CRM, customer relationship monitoring system or managers, inventory planning softwares, and list is endless. Like SAP is on all ERPs helps gathering all this data. With IT OT integration, data sharing happens across the entire organization, allowing decision makers to analyze machine generate data in real time. When you say the real time analyzers, it gives you the data where you can see it on dashboard and gets quickly. Let's say floor manager can decide anything which is related to their machinery. Okay, and when in their HO in headquarters or head office, there are executives are sitting looking into the different types of plant in one dashboard. They are easily can assess the situation and gets the business agility out of that. So we are actually able to eliminating unplanned downtime, because this integration is also helping organization combat the issues associated with unplanned downtime. This is very crucial thing, because unplanned downtime is really a pain, where including equipment failures and profit losses, everything comes with downtime is related to the money and the time. It is reducing our profit. Okay, so by digitizing the maintenance process and pulling insights directly from the factory floor, by monitoring machine performance, OT and IT terms can monitor equipment for early signs of trouble and act accordingly. There are many people right now in this summit which are actually relatable to the such scenarios when they interact with the business people or the industry expert. They have the perfect solution, but this digitized industry or the what we can say the organization, if it is not there, they are losing time and money. So that's why the companies are not getting a profit, and it directly impact everyone in the company. Okay, so why this is why it matters. So for example, IT pros might now spend more time working with equipment on the factory floor, while OT team will need to bone up a cyber security networking best practices. So this convergence isn't about turning IT pro point into heavy machinery, okay, or the plant engineer into data scientist, but actually rather it is about creating a strategy that bridges the gap and allows organization to improve operational performance by working around let's say some set unified set of objective and KPIs. If you work with industry expert, they talk all about KPIs. So what is KPIs? KPIs key performance indicator, which is kind of a metric related to everyone or everything in the organization. So these technologies makes this convergence possible. So sometimes no code applications, there are digital twins. You must have heard the augmented reality, then edge computing. Okay, so these impact on industrial control system security. So as I told, there is a high investment cost, secure data storage. This is the particular case I can tell you when will go to edge computing section. I'll be telling that data storage. Sometimes we have 3 TB in 10 days for one asset, and we have, like you can say, in hundreds of asset fetching that data. Okay, so frequency also matters. There are frequency of data fetching like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 second, but in general we are having this big data, and actually we are getting big opportunity out of it. So what is the challenges out of here, that we have to store securely. Then sometimes there is a connectivity outage. One thing happened in north, like farmers protest, they demolish some geo towers. Suddenly our geo network goes, or the network outage was there, we kind of stop that data receiving here on the real time basis. So it was actually real time data loss, but we come by overcoming a store forward functionality where we got data in later manner when the connectivity established. Then blending legacy and IoT infrastructure, it is a huge task, it is a challenge. There is a risk of cyber security and pitfalls. So all this comes, and we can eliminate or mitigate this risk by selecting the right partner to help with IoT integration. Again, when I say cyber security, because here you can say blending legacy and IoT infrastructure comes with cyber security consideration. So it is very difficult to secure IoT, but it's not impossible. It's very possible when you connect one device, two device, 10 devices. When I say devices, it can be considered as an asset, as asset plus gateways. Okay, so whenever thin line disappear or blurs between IT and OT, you can say the asset is a combined term. So when there is a more connectivity, and definitely there is a more risk, because you have to have a look for all these hundreds assets at the same time, because they are coming into the any organization network. If some threat is there, it can actually malware or any virus can come through that network, and it can make a bad scenario out of it. So we have to secure the legacy OT software. Then this consideration we have taken into incorrect authentication practices. So these bad practices, we have to take session into the divisions, educate people or engineers how to have this authentication practices, then interoperability, then vulnerable OT communication protocols. There are communication protocol as well as the industrial protocol. You have to make a blend as a secure IoT. So when you go forward for IoT implementation, okay, there are checklists you can see, because planning for IoT implementation, you can say it's all too easy to get caught up in the possibilities of digital transformation. When you say digital transformation and industry 4.0, everyone gets excited and try to see outcome and visualization things, but they must have should go through the journey and potential to transform the unstructured data from dumb system, you can say, because they are not smart yet, and turn them into productivity gains and profit. Okay, so planning for IoT, we should consider all these things. We should know in advance that IoT implementation is far more complex than installing sensor, learning ins and outs of new analytic programs or software. One poorly configured element, missed update, or outdated piece of equipment provide an entry point for attackers to compromise the whole system. So this is the step by step system, you can say, because these are the checklist comes with equipment, communication protocols, environment, security, the structure, governance structure, the team, and everyone. So we will go over the process of creating this implementation roadmap that will help you ensure that you cover all the you can say the base down to last endpoints. So when you say equipment, you evaluate your existing assets, because let's say for in our organization there are different types of used equipment, or we can say assets. We evaluate them in terms of software, hardware, data collection possibilities, and analytics tools and processes where we can actually implement on them. Okay, so we have to have create a list with the businesses, and we went through do you have real time visibility of current operation, or can we if we implement this, can we make a predict maintenance, or do we have some issues, all endpoints secured? This can be asked to the our IT team. Then what about your legacy equipment? We have to make a list of this legacy equipment. We have to have any plan where we can talk about legacy equipment, how to mitigate risk or make them smart enough. How old are your devices? Then which assets can be adapted? When you go for communications and protocols, you have many drivers, let's say, at the asset side. When I say that, because I have come across 160 plus industrial protocols where we have any connectivity agent, it can communicate with such type of or such diversified portfolio of drivers, because we have a number of or different types of assets where they have different PLCs, DCS. You must have heard OPC DA, OPC UA, then OPC different types. Then in from PLC you have Modbus, then other types of Profibus, Profinet protocols. So you have communication protocols ready. So you have to keep that while proceeding with the communication protocols. And when you fetch the data from the asset and try to send it to the cloud, you have again communication protocol, how much coverage it will get need, how you are going to facilitate this process with in terms of internet. There is M2M SIMs or LAN based or broadband kind of things. Then you have what are your data rate requirements. As I told, we have actually evaluated through the business where data rates are decided, or we experimented that data should be coming 1 minute per or maybe 30 seconds or per 10 seconds. There are critical parameters of boilers or turbines where we have to monitor that those parameters per second. So if you imagine per second means you are getting huge data for in a single hour or a day. So again, we have to make a strategy to compress this data, edge computing. Even if we store such kind of data to the cloud, then you must have strategy to expand your cloud servers and all. Okay. And along with these protocols, you must have already with the strategy of protocol security requirements. So it comes in a security, how you protect your sensitive data. All this brainstorming goes for months and months, and we don't have time. Sometimes you have to start implementation, then parallelly do the things. So you have to identify such processes which can go sequential, which can go in parallel. Where do we meet at some point? Before that, what we have to complete and all. Okay. So we develop organizational structure, where what system you currently using to collect key business insight, then connected. How is your organization structure? We have, let's say, the teams ready for each businesses, where single point of contact, then their operational team, then their brain tanks, or brainstorming leaders, or with the staff with the IoT experience. Next, this is very rough idea of IoT technology stack, but it is very relevant to us. Sometimes when I interact with other business people or outside of our industry, the same thing going in other companies, they also come across with the relatively same technology stack. Because in the end we call it as a thing, because IoT, Internet of Things. So we call our boilers, chiller, or water treatment plant as a thing, because those manufacturing facilities are made smart using gateways. Okay, so those devices that convert real world phenomena into numbers. Those sensors are connected. We are getting centralized data through those sensors. Then we have gateways. I'll be talking specially on gateways in later section, where different types of gateway, how you select or evaluate, or evaluation of those gateway, which we install connectivity agent, edge SDK or something, where it converts different data types into format that can be sent to the cloud. Okay. Then connectivity, as I told, there are PLC, DCS, or wireless or wired, GPRS, M2M, or a standard SIMs, link protocol with the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Then internet protocol comes. Right now in India, we mostly use IPv4, but we are ready with the IPv6, because the many organization, or like Gartner, they are saying there are 30 billion to 50 billion devices are getting connected till 2025. So communication protocols mostly are used as a MQTT as well as HTTP, because this is directly getting interrelated to the gateway and the data sending mechanism. Because such software or connectivity agent are designed by taking consideration this communication. Then data ingestion, this data is getting ingested to our cloud, or tools to handle streaming data in real time. Here on example basis, there are few names are mentioned, like Kafka. The few open source platform where they handle streaming data. Then comes with the data storage, because You can have different types of database formats as well as CSV format, because anyway when you save this data in a structured manner, it gets benefited when you try to retrieve them and make an analytics out of it. So most of the time CSV format goes for longer period, but InfluxDB, this is a new database, then MongoDB, SQL Hadoop are already in the market. Okay, so basically here we have to save data, then make it clean for the analytics, and this has to be easily retrieved whenever required. Then data access. So this data access, when we store data, but we get this data to be shown or visualization purpose, or extracting stats. So we can actually ingest this data to the platform, sometimes Power BI to make a business intelligence dashboard, or other different Tableau or Power BI tools. Then again, intelligence, then we fed this data to artificial intelligence layer, where we actually work on a mathematical model. We develop this expert mathematical model according to our asset, but used as a deep learning, then pattern extraction, data mining, and all kind of this thing whenever you have data, because our journey goes forward for 2 to 3 years. We have used data, then we have this strategy to use this data and make it intelligent move to gain the traction and give benefit to our customer. So this is where I told you about 4 types of analytics comes in a picture. Then application, so use cases based on the verticals. I told our Thermax is having different types of businesses. They are actually our verticals. So we identify our use cases, we build analytics around it, and we build different types of application on a single IoT platform, and we deliver it to external customer. So there are 3 types to see view of IoT. There are operational team from the IT side as well as operational side or the business side. Sometimes there are people who are technically managing the product. There are, the enterprise view where it can be seen from the HO that these are the workflow of the IoT. Let's say the things you can see: energy, industry, healthcare, or maybe the fleet management, transformation, or let's say smart city kind of thing. These are the things which should be smart enough with the sensors, so that we can actually connect our IoT gateways to them using the sensor, using the connection or protocols. Then this networking layer have the routers as well as gateway, but these gateways are equipped with the different types of analytical or edge computing tools, where they send a specific data which is related to the KPIs of certain industry. Okay, then communication services to the data center. From that data center, we get data, this big data analyze and get one one stop window where we can actually have BI for HR, CRM, ERP. So this is the enterprise view of IoT, you can say. Okay, so this gateway, when I talked in past, that evaluation of gateway, because whenever right now we see these gateways are already smart enough and actually build with the, sometimes gateway comes with a smart solution also. But when you go into deep and identified use cases, what you found that yesterday it was only protocol conversion or simple network interface, but now it is a primary enabler of sensor to cloud, edge computing, remote access for assets that may be distant. Because when you say the gateway is receiving huge data, gateway gives an option that every data should be sent to the cloud, or gateway says that I'll compute this data, process this data, only relevant data should be sent. So these options give you the flexibility to, or saves your cost in a cloud side also. When you have immediate computing, it is called as on the edge. It is from the OT/IT edge. So edge gateways give this flexibility. Sometimes you get all the data stored at somewhere and you process that, and then application gets the data. You call it as a fog computing. You must have come across the edge as well as fog computing. But these are the difference. And right now our gateways are smart enough, gives you enough options. So there are Windows based gateway, the Dell and all other players providing. There are few Linux or microservices based proprietary softwares based gateways. So what are the difference? Whenever you have a industrial IPC box, industrial PC box with the industrial grade, you have to install your selected software to fetch data, to send data. Then you have to take remote of that data. You have to make sure antivirus is on it. You have to handle all the updates of Windows, dedicated Windows, let's say Windows 10 LTSC or LTSB or kind of thing. Okay. So Windows based gateway, what it comes around like able to handle updates of OS. Then we need to install connectivity agent, or you have to write a code of Edge SDK, software development kit, where this handles the fetching data and sending it to the cloud. Then agent should be able to talk to more than 150 types of industrial driver, which this is the case of our business. Then it needs remote connectivity softwares, because you don't have all the time one gateway. You will have hundreds of gateway deployed all around, domestically, internationally. You have to have one window where you can actually check all the gateways in single window, where you manage all this gateway. If this is, they are online, offline, or you have to provide the status accordingly. So you have to make it very very crisp and secure those gateway, and provide a remote connectivity software just like a TeamViewer or a or ME admin or something, with along with the they should have a secure tunnel of fetching remote identity of gateway with the antivirus and all. But Linux based or microservices based, those device comes as a proprietary devices, but they have proven kernel, incorporate everything which is related to Windows based. Like they have industrial driver already, they have remote connectivity, they have their own VPN, different types of VPN, or number of let's say 32 to 48 VPN where channels were provided. Then device management is quite easier. So such kind of gateways is kind of beneficial when you scale up your connectivity. I have been into different roles of industrial IoT as of now. I have been a developer, I have been a lead connectivity, then managing the technology at different types. So when I closely look into that, I have few opinions around gateways, as well as what to do in which scenarios. Maybe we can cover it into Q&A section. As I said, edge and fog computing here. This is the rough diagram. You can see the edge devices is any kind of smart sensor device, or anything which is made smart by using gateways and fetching data. So this data goes to edge node. Here you can see the edge node. It is nothing but the edge device where we have written the code. This data gets averaged, sometimes manipulated with the mathematical operations or mathematical models, and this data sent to cloud. Such kind of edge computing is very important, because as I said earlier, we had some cases where we actually receive tons of TBs in just like a week, and we never know. If we don't have strategy, we never know what to do with such storage, because this data should be structured, then clean to easy retrievable. So edge computing comes to rescue and gives a flexibility to make a relevant data fetch from the edge device and give it to cloud. Then again, the best practices according to IoT standards, and gives us.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Hello.
Yeah, just one question in mind. Can you just go back to the last slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is actually the main difference between this cloud and edge as such?
Great. Nice question. So cloud, you use cloud to save the data or storage of the data, but on the edge you cannot save, or this is not recommended to save your data. You can process your data on edge node, where sometimes I'll give you one simple example. If you have Windows based gateway and you deployed just next to your devices of which you want to fetch the data. Let's say there is a huge equipment which process thousands of property per minute or gives you data thousands of properties. Then this edge device, what it makes, it gets the data in connectivity agent, make it process here only at the edge. Edge means you can in hardware layer, it is a Windows based gateway. Okay, then
So is it like certain microprocessors they would be there at the user end or something like that? Like cloud is a system to store the data and all, isn't it? But
yes.
edge in terms of hardware, if I would like to understand what it could be,
So
or
yes,
are they there
you
at
said
the human end or user
very
end?
rightly that this is a microprocessor based device, or you can say embedded device. See, in simple terms, okay. But it is on the edge of cloud as well as the data source. So that is why it is called as edge. So when I say IT and OT convergence, this edge makes this happen. So as you said rightly, this is a microprocessor based system.
So they are there at every user end present.
No, you cannot give all user access to this. User end is present. You can, have flexibility to do some operations on the edge, but it gets automated eventually. You don't access this edge frequently, but once in a while you can go to the edge or take a remote of this device, make some changes, and then again it gets automated.
That means in order to have certain changes in the edge devices, we need to access the edge, something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Every time need not to. If there are changes, then only we need to go to.
Right, right. Suppose you want to install some new software, which is advanced. Then you take a remote of this edge, and then you install it, check it, or observe for a week, and then it gets automated automatic.
And why it has to be there in between cloud and edge devices? Like, what is its
because
necessity?
because it gives you flexibility of data. You cannot have huge data always to be stored at the cloud, because you must have known, or you should know that cloud is getting expensive as per data storage. Okay, you have to have a great strategy of the only relevant data should be on the cloud. If not, if some data is not necessary, it should be get eliminated at the edge. Okay, I'll be telling here. Let's say if you see my laser, these are the edge devices giving you a huge data. Right now you can see 6 or 7, but if you have hundred or thousands of data, thousands of assets giving you data at each edge device. Okay, let's say thousands of assets have thousands of edge devices, and that is going to be stored on the cloud. So here you will have an industrial protocol, you will have here communication protocol like HTTPS or MQTT or so. Okay, you will burden these protocols or network or the internet by sending huge data. So you have option here that you get all the data to edge, but let's say 50 parameters, and then you process, make it average or make a frequency of 1 minute for the 10 minutes or something. But you don't send huge data, you send only relevant data to the cloud. So here you save here cost, then you save burden of the network, then you delete the non-relevant data here, and this is how you make a process or workflow ready for your IoT. So this is the strategy where you can have all the relevant data, but you are not overburdening your cloud here.
The deletion of data decision is taken by the user only.
Yes, this user means, let's say in this case, suppose you are the user and you want this data on the cloud, but you want a relevant data. So you take a decision that you have connectivity agent. Okay, this is some kind of software. For example, I say Cape Server X. If you go to Google, you can check this Cape Server. What it does, it averages all the data. Let's say my temperature of any devices is getting like 35 degrees Celsius for 6 hours. Okay, it is not changing. So why you take all the 35 degrees Celsius temperature for all the data, all seconds in 6 hours to the cloud. You will just make some program here. It gets average. Okay, so you will get only one data point get stored here for all 6 hours. So you won't save, let's say, 50,000 data points. You only save one data frequency.
So that means
Okay,
we can
fine.
say the processing that takes place on the server is the cloud computing, while that which takes on the devices is the edge computing device end.
Right. So
Okay,
when
sir. Okay.
so there is a stage, you can say, when you process or make this project for 2-3 years, you will find that you will have non-relevant data here, because you are going on a you are going to compute this data on a cloud basis, okay, at cloud stage. You found that, okay, I need only this much data. Why I will have so much data? So you go to edge, you make a changes that I don't need this much data. You make changes here. You will have a nice analytical or advanced kind of softwares here, and this software take care of this. Whatever model you want to build, it can be built here. Get it? Hello. Okay, then let's go ahead. So best practices. So it is related to when you implement, but you have to maintain the system, or with relevance of the IoT standards. So between new revenue streams and never before seen insights, this IoT promises a massive set of benefits that is done right could set the stage of lasting success. So this is why we need best practices. So there is a business value to be gleaned from every connected sensor, devices, or piece of machinery via big data analytics, which in case last you asked that cloud computing and all. So where we do this big data analytics. So with these analytics, then automation, then real-time computing, and as a result, organizations are eager to tap these benefits for themselves. Once you do computing or make insights out of this, the organization always ready to convert it into money or ROI or something. So they are eager to tap these benefits for themselves. So whether the motivation comes from the desire to monitor environmental condition or improve safety, or finally put those mountains of siloed data, okay, unstructured data into action, there is some Internet of Things best practices. So organization should know. While IoT remains something of wild west as far as standard and procedures are concerned, the industrial IoT recently released, such kind of best practices, which you can see on the screen, where first of all they identify clear use cases, because sometimes you get the data, but if it is not defined clear use cases, you cannot actually retrieve whatever the gain you want to, okay, out of that. So realizing the ROI of IoT is something that takes place over the course of several years. It's not doesn't come in a overnight, but as opposed to the matter of weeks, such a measuring a performance of campaign or asset or success. As such, organization need to be intentional about setting incremental criteria that shows so IT operation value of initiative. So, okay, it is also important to be transparent about why, what, and how behind the move to this technology. So we're focusing on the benefits for both organization as a whole, or in individual employees. Then we keep end user top of the mind. So many reports or article you can see, they reveal the strong correlation between the strength of organization data strategy and its understanding of the customer. So IoT deployment generate massive amount of data, as I said. So we have to a decision need to be made about how and whether this data to be stored. As such, now developing this strategy around analysis, security, and information sharing are essential for ensuring that organization achieve these target outcomes. Some or few question comes mind, starting of this series of question like what constraint will be proposed solution, or maybe what resources are available to implement this solution, what metrics present succeed, or what milestones or objective are you measuring. Then only you face this data, do the analysis. Otherwise, it is just a type of insight, but if you are not clear with your vision, it is just a type of data residing at your cloud. Again, when you get this data, then you will have the try to build on legacy investment or try data protection best practices. So this IIoT or any AI or ML kind of thing, these are the this comes with a disruption to the industry. So this might have some disaster results like costly service disruption, regulatory fines, reputational damage, maybe a stolen IP or injury or death. So we have to have these data protection best practices in place. So and the build on legacy investment, this is one of the best practices any manufacturing facility can adopt, because they can have solution in place that automate at least some daily operations. And while many of these solutions aim to provide added control and visibility, businesses are kind of leaving opportunities on the table, because not everything is connected yet. So in these cases, it's not much an issue of scrapping the old tech and replacing with the something new. Because when I say that you have to invest huge, okay, then you have to give up on something, because eventually you come with a mission for ROI and generating some revenue through different business models. So you have to invest either, or you have to replace or make a retrofitting, and you have to invest in huge money inside. So you have to build on legacy investment here. Then again, tear down old silos and avoid building new ones. Then use off-the-shelf solution where possible. Sometimes when I told you, I'll be telling about the types of IoT platform in ahead of slides. So you can use the off-the-shelf solution sometimes, or you can build solution for your businesses which are very close to them and their KPIs can be made. So there are two types of solution, and there are, let's say, 5 types of applications or the IoT platform, but the off the shelf and on the shelf solution where possible we can use. Okay. Then find a partner which is well versed in Internet of Things. So this selecting a right partner and having different types of platform, this is the crucial part of this IoT implementation. That's why after having this all the background, I'll be taking into the next slide. Okay, so most important is selecting the right IoT platform. This is very crucial, because if you can see on the screen, there are different types of platform like connectivity platform, application enabling platform, then advanced analytics, then cloud platform, device management platform. So you have to choose your use case and then invite them. But before that, you have tons of maybe hundreds of thousands of platforms ready in the market. You have to invite them, make an evaluation of each criteria of your organization which can cater to your organization or customer, and make a business model out of it to generate the revenue. Okay, because these are fast becoming the key to securing competitive advantage. You have to take edge over the other competitors, so you have to act accordingly. This is where business agility as well as the thinking and the evaluation process comes. Okay, but we will explain what is IoT platform and what capabilities should look into evaluating vendors. So basically, I'll be telling into brief that what is an IoT platform. These are type of middleware. So on top of that, you are building your use cases or the application which are benefiting your business. So they are designed to act as a mediator between hardware and application layer. So in heterogeneous IoT environment, platform support integration between third-party apps, sensors, legacy equipment, or other connected device. So much like the operating system on computer, platform work behind the scene to manage application functionality, device and data flow, as well as facilitate seamless communication across the entire IoT system. So when you go to try to find IoT solutions, very considerably, you have to offer the following. They have to offer the these capabilities. So let's say the connect devices, sensor machine. So if you see the scalability, because you don't you don't get fined on a single application or a single device. This should be scalable with thousands of devices, gather data, make it stable and all. So connect devices, sensor, machine, handle multiple types of communication protocol, then security of devices, data as well as network. Okay, so capture, analyze this data, data aggregation. So fine. So here, when we say scalability, this solution should equip to scale with you as your business grows. Because ask prospective partner whether scaling up will require significant investment. Because this is where hidden agendas of IoT partners can come. In start or in front of you, they can say yes, we are scalable, and you are also getting very happy that okay, this is in line with our vision. But when you start journey after 2-3 years, you will come to know there are hidden prices there that you cannot scale. If you want to scale, you have to upgrade this version, then you have to buy this, you have to incorporate such investment and all these things. So we should be clear, because even though we check with the functionality of the platform, but everything should be connected, or everything, rather I would say everything is connected with the commercials. Because if you are investing, you have to make a equation with your ROI also. So scalability comes with the prices. Then connectivity measure, what kind of connectivity requirement do you have. Then will you need a cellular connection, or will your existing Wi-Fi is okay, or it is sufficient, or do you need a platform that enables data processing at the edge only. So such kind of decision comes exactly in the start of selecting the platform. Then security is always the point. Then data aggregation and management, as I said, some platform comes with the application side as well as the hardware side and end-to-end IoT platform. Some platform gives only the functionality for the software side. So this is where you have to take a consideration, because what benefit does the enterprise ready IoT gives to other businesses. So these are the some evaluation criteria you can come. That does platform provide an environment developing, testing, or maintaining application, or does it come with a pre-written applications, or it is a platform where you have to build some application, or it is a off-the-shelf solution. Then how does this platform clean this format and organize data, or which database, this database is expensive or not, what kind of database we can, how scalable it is. Then the IoT platform open or developer friendly, can we develop in-house, or we have to again hire a team which is enough having skills to develop on this. So again, this is the end part of this you can say speech, where everything is implementing. But what about when you develop the application, it cannot be with the organization. You have to go to the market and sell this to market, and you have to make the strategy which is called as a go-to-market strategy, because you are ready to enter into the market and nail or capture the share, capture the market with your bigger share. So we have to change your perspective. I'll tell few shifts. From generating value by making different kinds of machine, we have to shift it to generating value by analyzing different types of data. Because we are just getting data, but we have to analyze and make insight out of that, and then we have to generate values, and then you propose it to your customer that you have this boiler or any assets in 7 years, but this is the application gives you the idea that your boiler is getting down in next month if you don't do this kind of decision. So this is the shift, or this is the, you can say, sales pitch you should have, or your application should be able to define this. Then another shift is like from segmenting market by industry sector to look at the market in terms of customer circumstances and job to be done. Okay, then make different offerings for different products and categories of the solution. Let's say relevant to your daily routine, that you will have Netflix, which gives you 15 days or 30 days free subscription. This is the offering from Netflix to you, okay, for their different products. Different products mean mobile Netflix or web Netflix or desktop Netflix. They give you different offerings with the different commercial, and they categorize their solution. Once you know you spend your one free month, then you think, okay, this is beneficial for me, and I'm getting subscribed. So this is the different offering you have to come up with and go to the market, then make business model out of it and a large set of solution. So maybe Netflix or maybe another solution can come with the different types of solution, then and already you are customer, you will get some discount, but you will be subscribed at the end of the day. Okay, from building the manufacturing based organization known for reliability, then we have to shift it to the building a data analytics with better product organization. Right now, let's say in terms of Thermax, we were selling our boilers, but right now we are selling our boilers as smart connected product, because that boiler is quite intelligent, and thing you will understand that not only boiler but all the product is smart connected or fitted with the smart devices. So this is the perspective shift when you go to market. Then again, the shift in a pricing model, different types of pricing model. If you go to the application side, you can provide this is the basic model, this is the advanced, or this is the middle type of model. You will have this kind of feature. From this comes perspective shift from transactional product sale to outcome based business model. And then again, lead in digital transformation. So yeah, this is I can say in you can say kind of a detail as well as a little brief on some concept. So references of this material, of course, some diagram from the internet because lack of time, but the content and the you can say the content comes from the work experience which I work in different roles in IoT. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Participants, if you have any question, you can unmute and speak, or you can type in the chat box. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav Pardeshi, sir, for such an interesting session on
Thank you, Snehal, for inviting me. It's been a great session.
Hello.
Hello.
Gaurav sir. Hello.
Yes, I'm listening, Rohini.
Yeah, actually, one question was there from my side. The topic was actually
Your voice is breaking, Rohini. Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Snehal, you are audible.
Okay, I think there was some network issue. I'm extremely sorry for that.
That's
Thank you so
fine.
much, Gaurav sir, for conducting such a wonderful session on IIoT and its implementation.
Thank you. I hope you liked it. The people who the expertise from their faculties area. Thank you so much again inviting.
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
We have shared your presentation with the participants. So if they have any query, they can contact you because these
sure,
are
sure, no problem. Okay,
okay. Thank you,
fine.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the participants attendance link is already posted in the chat box. Please give your attendance, and our next session will start at 2:30, and that is the lab session. So I request all of you to attend the session. Thank you.